Hello everyone, I'm JD. I'm a pickleball player, I'm part of that community, and also I'm an athletic therapist. So the other day, when I read the post about Amy's tennis elbow problem and all the great solutions I read there, I'm like, Zach, you know what? I need to make a video to explain people what's going on with tennis elbow. First, let's talk about the anatomy. When we talk about tennis elbow, we talk about the lateral epicondyle, right over here. Then we have the call for elbow, it's at the flexors, so basically the medial epicondyle. The point here is usually it's pretty tense, it's pretty stiff, so basically you massage it and you feel better. So that's one part of the solution. But mainly what I see with people, it's really more a shoulder issue. When we talk about shoulder, what we see is just because the people are basically sitting down all the time and the thoracic spine is pretty stiff. So what's going on? If the thoracic spine is stiff, people are not able to lift their arm. So they're stiff there, and basically the lats is pretty stiff, and then also the rotator cuff doesn't do a right job. So rotator cuff is all the muscle attached over here. When we see the shoulder, you have to see it as those three bones over here. You get the clavicle, you get the scapula, you get the humerus, and everything is attached on your body, on the skeleton, by what? The SC joint over here. So if everything goes forward like this, what's going on is the shoulder, the humerus, is not in joint anymore. And what's happening here is basically you're using way too much of that elbow instead of using the full body. Where we see it, it's basically when people train or do a couple of easy activity. Easy activity like what? I'm gonna pick my bottle. So instead of picking up your cup of coffee, just getting close to it, you basically reach. And I'm gonna do it with our arm. You reach like this. And then you basically get that arm pretty straight. And as soon, see over here, see what's going on. As soon as I get my arm straight, my shoulder, my humerus get out of the socket. So you have to see it. As soon as it gets straight, it goes out like this. So basically, instead of having all the weight of the bowel being on the body, the full body, it gets totally on the elbow joint. And you got two issues here. So you can either have people where those muscles, the lats over here, or the rotator cuff is too tight, or even yesterday I got a patient coming to see me, and in his case, it was pretty flexible. I mean, the mobility was great. But when he was doing bike, instead of being like this on his bike, totally straight arm. So all the stress of the body was where? On the elbows. Same thing when he was training. What he was doing, he was basically doing, bicep curls on the machine, being arms, rest on the over here and doing like this. But as soon as you do that, look at what's the position of my shoulder. So basically, what you need to make sure is you get a good shoulder mobility. And I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds. Let's start with the easiest one, your hand. So basically, your hand, the palm over here could be pretty tight. So what you do, you basically pull your fingers like this. Then you can hold it for 15, 30 seconds, and also you can do it with your thumb. Why you want to do this? Maybe you don't have any elbow problem, but later you may have an issue with your fingers, so that's going to be hard to hold your paddle. Then after that, the classical one we see all the time is stretching your forearms like this. In my case, pretty good. The other side too. But you may feel something. If you really want to do it, put your arms on the table like this, arms straight, and at the same time you're going to feel the finger stretching. And you do it on the other side. That's it. How long? 15, 30 seconds. I told you that the forearm could be tight, but sometimes, and actually most of the time, the problem is from the shoulder. What could be tight? There's the pec over here. There's two ways to stretch it. You can put your arms here, chest straight, and you kind of rotate your torso. You hold it for 3 seconds, and you go back and turn again. Then also, you can stretch the pec major on the wall, like this. And again, you basically turn your body this way. So you're going to feel a stretch right on the pec over here. But sometimes people feel stretch for something above the shoulder. That's because the lats, it's way too tight. How do we stretch it? You can put your arm above your head like this, pick up the elbow, push back, and go sideways. The other way I like is basically you go in the side door like this, you put your arm there, the other arm, it's on the wall, and basically I push my pelvis that way. So this way I feel a stretch over here. Hold it for 15 seconds. Here I'm going to show you where the problem is usually. We can see it on my wife because you know what? She got to this elbow. So I'm going to ask her to bring her hand right over here. See, she touched there. Everything is fine. The shoulder is able to turn in the joint. Switch. Look at the other arm. Pretty hard to do it. So the main reason is that muscle over here is way too tight. I'm going to show you how to stretch it. After 10 minutes, this is basically the most important test. So basically you're really sideways on your shoulder joint. Make sure your elbow is at shoulder level, and then you put your hand right on the wrist and you push down. You see, she's limited that much. Technically, she's supposed to touch the ground. Give this a try. And you know what? The test is the exercise. So what we do, go back, push, hold it for 3 seconds, go back and push. This is what you need to try and work on if you want to get away of your tennis elbow. I've never been a big fan of those wrist curl up. Actually, I never gave the exercise in the last 24 years. But you can still do it if you want. You can even try that one with the rope there, the weight, and you're kind of rolling up. For sure, those wrists gonna burn. And maybe you're gonna feel better, but that's not gonna help that much your elbow problem. One thing I can tell you that could work, it's basically, you can use a tubing, pull it that way, and then you go above your head like this. That's going to work your shoulder, and more stable your scapula is going to be, better it's going to be for your elbow. I hope that you understand way more what's the cause of tennis elbow now. And please, give a try to that rotator cuff stretch, because usually it's the main cause of shoulder issue and elbow issue. When I did that video, I totally forgot to talk about those tennis elbow braces that we see all the time. Technically, you can wear them. There's no side effect of wearing them. If it helps you, go for it. But you still need to remember that usually the main reason is your shoulder joint. And probably you're still going to need to stretch it or work on it, and also probably massage the elbow joint too.